All right, let's dive into a really powerful investment tool that a lot of savvy investors use, but honestly, most people don't really know about: commercial papers. So if you've ever found yourself wondering how to get better returns on your short-term savings, without taking on massive risks, then you're gonna want to stick around for this.
Let me ask you something. It's a simple question, but it's a really important one. Is the money you've carefully set aside, is it actually doing anything for you? Is it just sitting there, or is it actively growing and helping you hit your financial goals? Because let's be real, a lot of us have our money in a regular savings or fixed deposit account. But what if there was a better way?
Okay, so let's talk about a solution that's all about steady growth, not those crazy wild market swings. We're talking about commercial papers, or you'll often hear them called CPs. They're a secure, short-term investment that, and this is the key part, can often give you higher returns than your traditional fixed deposit. So let's break down exactly what they are and how they work.
So what in the world is a commercial paper? I promise it sounds a lot more complicated than it actually is. Let's get right into the simple breakdown.
Okay, so here's the bottom line. A commercial paper is basically just a short-term loan. You've got these large, really reputable corporations in Nigeria. They issue these things to raise money quickly for their day-to-day operations. And who do they borrow from? Well, they borrow from investors, people just like you. And this is a perfect way to picture it. On one hand, you have the traditional route. A big company goes to a bank to get a loan. But with commercial papers, that same company is borrowing directly from a whole bunch of investors, including you. So you're lending them your money for a fixed amount of time, and in return, they pay you interest. You, my friend, essentially get to be the lender.
Okay, so why are so many smart investors in Nigeria starting to lean into commercial papers? Let's get into the real advantages that make this such a smart move for your money.
So let's break down why this is so appealing. First off, the returns. A standard savings account might get you what, maybe 4% a year? Well, CPs from top-tier companies could offer over 15%. Big difference. Second, the timing is short. We're talking anywhere from 30 to 270 days, so your cash isn't locked away for years. And this is absolutely crucial. They are regulated by Nigeria's Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC. That's the government body that protects investors, which adds a really important layer of safety.
So you might be asking, is this right for me? Well, it's a perfect fit if you want a safe place to put some cash for the short term, earn a predictable income, and you want to avoid all the ups and downs of the stock market. This is all about steady, reliable growth.
All right, this all sounds pretty good, right? But how do you, actually do it? Let's walk through a super simple step-by-step plan that pretty much anyone can follow.
You'd be surprised how straightforward this is. It all starts with picking an investment firm that's licensed by the SEC. That's non-negotiable for safety. Opening an account is usually pretty fast. Then you'll ask them for their current CP offers and just look through the details. Now you want to pay close attention to the interest rate, the duration, and probably most importantly, the company's credit rating. Once you find one you like, you fund your account, subscribe, and that's it. At the end of the term, you get your original investment back plus the interest you earned. Simple as that.
Now, no good investment explainer would be complete without talking about the other side of the coin. It is so important to understand the potential risks and, of course, how much money you actually need to get in the game.
And let's be super clear here. While commercial papers are seen as very, very safe, they're not totally risk-free. I mean, nothing is. Being a smart investor is all about understanding those risks, so let's look at the two main ones you really need to keep in mind.
First up is what's called credit risk. It's really just a very small chance that the company could have trouble paying you back. And how do you deal with that? Well, you check the company's credit rating. Think of it like a report card on their financial health, and you stick to the strong, well-known corporations. The second is liquidity risk. All this means is that your money is locked in until the end date. You can't just decide to pull it out early. So the rule of thumb is simple. Only invest money you are sure you won't need in a hurry.
So, what about the entry fee? Do you need a whole bunch of capital to get started with this? Well, the answer is probably no. It's actually way more accessible than you might think.
Believe it or not, sometimes the entry point can be incredibly low. Some investment firms now offer what they call fractional access, which lets you get started with as little as 10,000 naira. It's an absolutely fantastic way for beginners to just dip their toes in the water. Now, moving up a bit, a much more common minimum investment for a lot of direct CP offers is right around 50,000 naira, which is still a very accessible starting point for most people.
And then on the higher end, for some of those premium offers from the biggest corporations, the minimum might be 5 million naira
or even more. This just goes to show you that there's a huge range out there, really catering to everyone from first-time investors all the way up to the seasoned pros.
So, we've covered what CPs are, why they're so attractive, how to actually invest in them, and the risks you need to think about. Let's bring it all home and put it all together for your final takeaway.
So here's the bottom line. If you're looking for short-term growth, predictable returns, and an investment experience that doesn't cause you a ton of stress, commercial papers are genuinely one of the smartest and safest options you're going to find in Nigeria today.
And that brings us right back to the question we started with. Now that you understand how commercial papers work, you have another powerful tool in your financial toolbox. So I'll just leave you with this one thought. Is it time to put your money to work?